Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special Howling Man fan edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Oh, star-studded Monster Party once again.
That's right.
This is a special event, and I'm just thrilled. And we should just get right into this, I say.
Well, speaking of star-studded, who are you, sir?
Oh, you. I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
And for this episode, we have a very special topic. And I think really what I need to do is I need to hand this over to our own Shawn Sheridan to lead us into this topic. So, Shawn, take it away.
Why, thank you, Matt. Yes, our topic and our guests in this particular episode are connected. First off, we have returning to the show writer, filmmaker, and author Steve PEROS. Steve was our guest along with Larry Blameyer for our B-Movie Legacy episode, if you remember that one.
Oh, I do.
Yes, it was a great episode, great guests. Steve's film credits include the ghost thriller The Undying, the quirky Hollywood mystery Footprints, and the Cat's Meow, based on the 1920s murder scandal involving William Randolph Hearst. Steve's other writing credits include the genre film guidebooks Giant Bug Cinema and Giant Beast Cinema. And most recently, Steve has written a new book, a nonfiction biography called H.M Wynant, You Must Believe, which leads me to our other guest and the subject of this episode. He is an actor whose career spans 8 decades of Hollywood.
Whoa.
He's appeared on Broadway and on the big screen. He's worked in radio. He's acted with pretty much every major Hollywood star there is, and worked with legendary directors such as Sam Fuller and John Frankenheimer. He's also guest starred on every cool television show that we grew up watching.
That's for sure.
Just some of his genre credits include The Twilight Zone, Batman, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Wild Wild West, and Thriller, and movies such as Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Horror at 37,000 Feet, and Trail of the Screaming Forehead. Now, you may not necessarily recognize this actor's name, but I guarantee you have seen his face many, many times. Please welcome a living legend of Hollywood history as we enter the world of H.M Wynant.
Yeah!
Welcome.
H.M Wynant! Woohoo!
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here.
I have to tell you that when I looked up all your credits on IMDb, my computer caught fire. There was that many credits. It couldn't handle it. So, well, what a career.
Of course, being the podcast called Monster Party, we're very interested to hear of your genre work, but your career in general is so rich and varied. So we would love to hear about how you got started in the business and touch on your work with so many famous actors and celebrities and filmmakers.
It started in Detroit. I came to New York as a dancer.
Wow.
Because the best teachers were there. Svoboda, Madame Alexandra Ivantsova. She's the one I went to. These are the great ballet and modern dance teachers, these two.
Yeah, he was 19, just 19, and self-motivated. I got on the train from Detroit and went to New York.
Enrolled in one of the best dancing schools in New York City. Because I was an actor in Detroit before I was a dancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
He went to Wayne State University, was part of their what would now be called a communications program. Now, he came with the proverbial $125 in his pocket, and it was running out. And he got what would be his first in New York day job and his last to date day job as a shoe salesman. But you went and you auditioned for a little show, which became a big show called High Button Shoes.
High Button Shoes.
For the choreographer by the name of?
Jerry Robbins.
Yep.
Jerome Robbins. Wow.
And
I remember I auditioned for Jerry, and I remember we were all on the stage in the last eliminations, And he said, you, and you stay. The rest of you are dismissed. I was one of the yous.
Wow.
And I went up to him and I said, I can't come back tomorrow because I have a job. And he said, quit.
Nice.
And that was it.
That's
And
the leap.
Wow.
That was the leap into
went to shoe
showbiz.
sales business. And
And you never had a straight job since.
no.
Unbelievable.
So that's where my career began.
Mhm.
So now did this lead to Broadway and working with all these, really
Well, yeah,
renowned actors?
High Button Shoes was a Broadway show. It was a huge pedigree. George Abbott directed, I think.
Yeah, George Abbott directed it, and
Mhm.
it was
Phil Silvers.
Phil Silvers,
Wow.
Audrey Meadows.
Mhm. It was a big dance and song and comedy show that just ran for years and a couple of years, and he went on the road with it as
I went
well.
on the road eventually with it and wound up in Chicago. I did 8 months of it in Chicago.
Wow.
He was understudying. He got to play one of the roles because the chorus wasn't just a bunch of anonymous dancers. They really acted. They were doing Keystone Cops, physical comedy. They were doing all this kind of stuff.
You're right.
So it was really acting.
We were doing Keystone Cops.
Yeah. And then he got to understudy a role called of Uncle Willie, and he got to play that role on tour, and that kind of reinvigorated his desire to act, not just dance. And
Right.
so much so that when the producers of a little show called Guys and Dolls raided the dance company of High Button Shoes when it was closing, H.M. was part of the dance company in rehearsals for the premiere of Guys and Dolls, and he got offered an acting role, and he walked away
Yeah.
from the dance chorus and never looked back.
I walked away from Guys and Dolls, and that was the end of my dancing.
Wow.
Wow.
To work with a little actress named Katharine Hepburn.
Right.
Jeez.
So how is Katharine Hepburn to work with?
Well, Katharine Hepburn was wonderful. She was the mother of the company, and it
Who's-
was a wonderful experience.
Whose clothes did she borrow?
Oh, God, yeah, we played tennis together. She borrowed all my clothes.
What? Wow.
I played tennis clothes with her. We were on tour. So we went and played tennis together. She had no tennis clothes, so she wore mine. We were the same size. I was
So
wild.
HM, she really came up and said, "Hey, HM, give me your clothes. I don't have any clothes to wear for tennis." Or
Katharine
something like
Hepburn was
that.
a wonderful, wonderful person,
Yeah.
and became the mother of the company.
Now, it's funny you say that because one of you was about to ask about Phil Silvers, and H.M. has talked a lot about these shows, particularly the ones that ran a while, like High Button Shoes, Tea House of the August Moon, which he was on for a year, and how the person who it's their company, how they behave. And you were saying about Phil Silvers that he was not as approachable, right?
Yeah, he was not approachable at all.
Hmm.
In other words, when intermission came, he'd go in his dressing room, he would close his door, which is a sign nobody comes in.
Right.
Whenever the star of the show closes the door, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
So he was not one of the company. He was an individual, period.
Got it.
Gotcha.
But Katharine Hepburn was not. Katharine Hepburn was a little more open.
Yeah, Katharine Hepburn's door was always open.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And did you ever get your clothes back?
Oh, well, I think so. Most of it, not all of it.
Okay. That's good.
Lost a few T-shirts.
Excellent.
So how did you go from that then to your first feature film?
David Wayne set up this interview with the agent. We met at the Plaza Hotel, just across the street from Central Park, in an outdoor cafe. We had a wonderful discussion together. He wanted to handle me. I said, "Oh, well, okay, handle me." I had no idea what this was all about.
Well, he asked you when are you coming to Hollywood, and what did you tell
Right,
him?
he did ask me, "When are you coming to Hollywood?" I said, "Never."
Ooh. Whoa.
Anyway, the discussion ended eventually. He left with the intention that he would call when he had something for me. So anyway, that's when it broke up. He went his way, I went my way, and a day later I got a call.
Mhm.
He
Nice.
had it in his mind that he did have something he wanted to put me into.
Mhm.
And that's how it all began.
Now, this was not just any agent. This was Henry Wilson, who has had books written about him.
Yeah.
He was depicted in that series Hollywood. He's the guy who was in charge of the quote unquote beefcake craze of the 50s and renamed all these people.
Yeah, he
Rock
had-
and Tab Hunter.
Hunter.
Right.
Wow.
You were H.M Wynant.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
was.
And then he and Sam Fuller
Oh,
talked
God,
over.
yes.
Talked over. They changed the spelling from Winant
That they did.
to Wynant with a hard Y.
Right.
And then they decided to take H.M and turn it into H.M. And Wilson sold it
That they did.
sold it to H.M by saying He-Man. It's like He-Man wine.
He-Man wine. Right.
Ah, okay.
Right.
That was
Gotcha.
the way they saw it.
Nice.
So Run of the Arrow is his first credit as H.M Wynant. They've brought him in, and while Run of the Arrow was specifically Run of the Arrow, while it was prepping, he did about 2 or 3 shows, including I think Alfred Hitchcock Presents, or no, the Thriller Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and he's actually billed as H.M Wynant on one of those shows. But Run of the Arrow is the first one as H.M Wynant, as we know it, and as we know and love him now.
Now, were you playing a heavy or a bad guy in Run of the Arrow?
In Run of the Arrow, I was a bad Indian.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh.
I was the bad Indian. Yeah, one scene I had Ralph Meeker tied to a post and I was skinning him.
Wow.
Wow.
Ooh, and if anybody has,
That's when I got shot. Ralph Meeker, and that's when.
no, you don't get shot in it.
No, I didn't.
No, see, it's if any of you haven't
How
seen
did
it,
that end? I forgot.
you must see it. Dances with Wolves literally stole the plot.
Ah.
It's about a Confederate soldier at the end of the war, played by Rod Steiger, who says, "I don't want to be any part of this America, and I'm just going to go west." And he's adopted by a Native American tribe. He falls in love. He's tested and challenged. And Sam Fuller, the writer as well as director, he created this whole thing where among the whites and the Indians there were the doppelgangers. So H.M. was Crazy Wolf, was war hungry and hated the whites. His chief, his superior, was Blue Buffalo, and that was a very peaceful Charles Bronson. Now, on the other side, you had Brian Keith playing the very peaceful lieutenant, and under him was this Indian-hating, war-mongering that Ralph Meeker played. So they had these roles from both camps showing that it's a very progressive Western, and H.M. does a great job. Great job.
We're so lucky we have him to describe it.
Tell them the story about how when you were on that picture, they were screening the dailies, and Sam Fuller's wife because H.M. is shirtless the whole movie.
Yeah.
And she was
I'm more than shirtless. All I had was a small breechcloth. I was very exposed.
And so the next set, when Sam Fuller shot his gun for action for you to do the Run of the Arrow, which is running across the desert barefoot, what happened?
Well, the action was a gunshot, and the cut was also a gunshot, because you can't hear it. I'm way out there. So I hear the gunshot, I run. I'm barefoot, and I'm running out into the desert. And I'm running. I'm waiting to hear that next gunshot. And I'm running out of breath. And I'm running, and I finally couldn't run anymore. I stopped, turned around, there's nobody there. And everybody left.
They went to lunch. And he thinks Fuller deliberately, because Fuller shot the gun. Fuller was the guy with the gun.
Fuller did it deliberately, no question about it.
Wow.
His wife was very attracted to what I looked like, not to me, just to what I looked like.
Sure.
Upset him.
Maybe if you had kept running, you would have run into another film shoot.
That would have been good. It was.
But he was in it. He was with Charles Bronson. They were in St. George, Utah. What did you and Charles Bronson, what did you guys do on your time off?
Well, we were 2 studs, so we went out and cruised the town. And you never saw 2 studs being so ignored in your life. Unbelievable.
Well, it's Utah.
We went to a public swimming pool where everybody's there, and we just stood around. totally ignored.
Wow.
I think we were both kind of upset.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a wonderful time.
Nice.
Well, now Sam Fuller had a reputation for being a bit gruff. Did you see that side of him, or was he pretty nice to you, aside from making you run forever into a desert?
Yeah, that was not nice. But
No.
anyway, Sam Fuller was a very good man to work with. As a director, he was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. He got the most out of you.
Ah.
And I loved him. I really did. I liked him a lot, and he was very kind to me, very good. I don't know. I had a good time with him. I hear the stories about how terrible he is from a lot of people, but I never saw any of that.
Certainly one of my favorite filmmakers of all time.
Me too.
He is. He's wonderful.
Yeah.
He knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
Most people don't. I've worked with many big directors, so to speak, who struggle along moment after moment. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're waiting for an inspiration to happen somewhere.
Yeah.
I've seen that many times, but Sam was very good.
He had a vision.
Oh yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, he had shot by shot just outlined on paper. I mean,
And wasn't afraid to take chances or do something controversial.
oh no.
Well, HM, you have such a striking, memorable face, and you ended up doing a lot of westerns, a lot of bad guys. But you also though did those live TV broadcasts like Studio 57 and Playhouse 90.
Yeah.
Like that's such a different world from now as far as making television. Like, what was that like?
That was kind of wonderful. It was more intimate. You had more time, and the director had the liberty of working with you and the time to do it. And therefore the end result is a hell of a lot better. And as it progressed on, it became tighter and tighter. And eventually there was no time at all. You just got the script, you learned the lines, went in front of the camera and said them. Big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, with live TV, the live TV dramas, they actually had that. They not only had to do it. It was a great thing for actors. They just had to do it in order to pull it off. They had a rehearsal period.
Yeah.
As he said, as it went on, and you get to other shows, not unusual to get the script the night before you're shooting or that morning, or there was no real. There was the rehearsal. The camera rehearsal was his rehearsal.
But during those live shoots, I mean, those were live. It's as if they're filming a play. And
yeah, we got there. It was a play. Absolutely. It was directed like a play, and we performed like it was a play. We didn't do little bits and pieces. We did rather long pieces, which is much more cohesive. It brings the thing together better. It just makes more sense.
But flows naturally. Yeah.
Yes, but of course, the thing with live television is sometimes things happen.
Well, yeah. So some of the Playhouse 90s were filmed. Most of them were live, and that's sort of the reputation. H.M. did a couple that were filmed, including one of his first ones was with Errol Flynn.
Wow.
He filmed Playhouse 90, worked with Errol Flynn.
It's amazing.
Do you remember working with Errol Flynn?
Yeah, we're both sitting at a bench, and the camera's out there, and the stand-ins are standing there while they're lighting and fixing up the area. And finally, we get a call to come. I put on my boots and I go in and I stand in front of it. I hit my mark. It's there. The stand-ins made the marks. I'm standing on my mark and I look back and Errol Flynn hasn't even stood up yet. He's still on the bench. He put on one boot, he put on the other boot. Looked like he was sound asleep. Got up finally and he walked very slowly. Finally, he got to the camera and the two of us are there ready to start. And all of a sudden he came to life. Every step he took, he got younger and younger and younger. By the time he hit his spot, we were the same age. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the first time H.M. told me the story, he said, I was on the set and I just see this old man sitting in a chair. But by the time he got to set, he was Errol Flynn.
Right.
You know.
By the time I swear you could see him getting younger as he walked. And,
Well, he lived and played hard. I know
Yes, he
that.
did.
and he hit his mark, and I'm on my mark, and the director says, "Camera, roll him," and away we went. He was wonderful. He was absolutely wonderful to work with, and he's a fine, fine actor.
Yes.
Yes, very fine actor.
Now, you did many Westerns throughout your
Yeah.
career, but one thing that I've heard that you did a lot in Westerns and as well as some other films is that you did a lot of fights.
Yeah, a lot of fight scenes. Yeah,
Do you have one in particular that comes to mind that was especially
do.
rough or
I'm trying to-
challenging?
I mean, Elvis was the big fight in.
I think it was Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis, and
I
it
think it
happened
was-
at the World's Fair.
I think it was Elvis.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a
You-
great fight in that one.
That is a great
You-
fight.
You
Yeah.
fought Elvis. Who can say that?
Yes, I damn near won.
Oh,
Well, yeah, well, it's that great moment where like it's the sucker punch when you go like, oh, okay, I'm done, really, and then you give it to him again. It's like it's great. It's like, yeah, and that's whole choreographed scene. Like you're really throwing each other around.
You see it?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yes.
oh.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That's Elvis.
He also gave a good 1, 2, 3. Clint Eastwood didn't even have a chance to fight him in Rawhide. Clint was pissing H.M. off as the guest star that week, guest villain. He was fooling around with H.M.'s gal, and that's it. Boom, 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 and Clint was on the floor, and that's it.
But what was it like to work with Elvis? Was he a good guy? Did you have fun with him?
Elvis? Oh yeah, I got along really well with Elvis. We liked each other a lot. We didn't get friendly, like going out to afterwards or anything like
Right.
that. But I liked Elvis, and we were very friendly. He was a
Mhm.
wonderful guy. Oh yeah, I admired his watch. I'll never forget that. He was wearing a beautiful watch. He took it off and gave it to me.
What
Wow.
kind of a watch was this?
I was in shock. I said,
Wow.
finally, I was forced to take it.
Tell them what brand watch it was. What kind of watch was
It
it?
was a Rolex.
Of
course.
Rolex.
So I take it
Wow.
you still have this watch,
Right.
right?
And I remember I had that bloody watch. Shooting was over. I went to my car. I put the watch down. I think I put it on the fender of the car. And then I got in the car, forgot about the watch, and drove away.
Oh, no.
Where I was going, and I said, "Oh my God, the watch!" And of course, it's not there anymore. I drove back to the very same spot, could not find it.
Oh. Oh,
I lost it the first day I had it.
that hurts.
Oh,
The
man.
Elvis
I told
Rolex
I
watch.
couldn't tell him.
But you
I
still
love-
have that moment where he gave it to you. I mean, that's classic. That's classic.
It's too bad.
You should have asked for bigger things then after that. Like, boy, I really like your swimming pool.
Or that car you have there.
My own swimming pool.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk about one of your most iconic roles, and it's in a TV show that we all are so familiar with and love so much, and that is The Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah,
The Howling Man, directed by Douglas Hayes, is
Yeah,
one of
Doug
the
Hayes,
one of
correct.
the best episodes and one of the scariest
Yes.
episodes of that series.
In my
Yeah.
top 5 favorite.
Yes.
The Howling Man was a hell of a good show.
Tell them how you got the job when you were at the kiddie park.
Doug Hayes and I watching our children at the kiddie park on Beverly Drive in
La Cienega?
La Cienega, the little kiddie park there. We both had our children going around on little cars and what have you. They said, "Hi, H, hi, Doug." And the next day I get a call. I'm doing his show, and that's it.
Wow.
Wow.
Literally, he didn't say a word while we just talked to each other. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Bye, bye.
It's a good thing you were at that kiddie park.
I got home. The agent called and said, "You're on." So I got a wonderful role in this next movie.
Yeah. And again, this was just a gig. It's like some show. I think it was second season, Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Okay. So he didn't know he was being a part of immortalized television history. He just went in the water.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's also groundbreaking as far as the effects, of how he transforms into the devil. Like that was great for television back then. That was really effective.
Sean, also the way it was shot. I mean, you have all those Dutch angles. You have all these funky things that they're really
the whole
utilizing
thing plays like a nightmare.
When I go way back, the director, Doug Hayes, we're going to do some new camera work, something new, inventive, and what was that? Tilting the camera.
Nice.
There were columns, huge columns.
Right.
Went to a high wall. And as he passes each column, he becomes more the devil.
It was Robin Hughes, the devil.
It was Robin Hughes.
Yeah.
And I forgot why I was unconscious, but I wasn't. I was on the floor. And
because when you let him out, he zapped you.
Went after him. He jumped up on the wall, went over. I reached up. I got his foot, and he went over the wall, and he was the devil.
And you catch him again, but you screwed it up again.
That's right.
Well, and what's interesting is it's sort of H.M. sort of fusing the script with what they shot in the script. The great Charles Beaumont, the writer who wrote that episode, he did not want you to ever see the devil. He wanted him to go as a man, go over, and when David Ellington, his character, goes and grabs his foot, we see the poof. And Doug Hayes and Charles Beaumont had a big argument, and Hayes said, I promised the audience I was going to show him the devil, and I'm going to show him the devil. He was very inspired by the transformation from Werewolf of London.
Exactly.
And so he said, no, I'm showing the devil. So Beaumont was never happy about it, but so H.M. kind of remembers what the script said and what they were originally there to do, and then what they wound up doing, which was showing you the devil.
Which I think worked for that episode. Great.
Yes.
He remembers more than I do.
Yes.
Well, I'm also borrowing from some of H.M.'s earlier interviews. He's been on record talking about Twilight Zone for a good 20 years, 25 years of interviews. So I remember the earlier stories, including when I've known him. I've known H.M. 30 years, so he's told me these tales as well.
And if they did not show the devil, we wouldn't have toys.
Yes. Look,
that's right.
They have a figurine, H.M., of the devil from the Twilight Zone.
Now, you also worked with another great character actor in that.
John Carradine.
And he's got the staff, Sean. It's the staff of truth.
Staff of truth, right.
Truth. What was it like working with John Carradine? I mean, he, like you, did tons and tons of stuff.
It was an unbelievable treasure working with him. He was very, very large at that moment in the history of the film. And it was a real treat for all of us working with John Carradine.
Did you get much rehearsing in?
No, actually, we read through it. We all sat around the huge table. I mean, there was maybe eight of us in the cast, and we read the script through. And once we read the script through, we went to the beginning to rehearse it, but there was no rehearsal. That's when John Carradine started his stories. Unbelievable. One story after the next. Unbelievable. We were all mesmerized. We sat there. Nobody looked at a script. We sat there for the next hour and a half listening to John Carradine telling wonderful, wonderful stories.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wow.
Very exciting. Yeah.
H.M., did Rod Serling visit the set while you were shooting?
I think so, yeah. He visits all the sets.
Really?
When we shoot. Nobody's supposed to know he's there, but he stands there. He's all dressed in a suit and all that, but he's there.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, in The Howling Man, there are so many interesting themes, and one in particular that really got to me was the idea that you can't judge a book by its cover, that evil sometimes does not represent itself in a scary, monstery way. Sometimes it's with a smile and it's with charm, and it fools you into thinking that it's something good when that is just not the case. And that really struck me as a kid.
The good devil knows how to do that.
There you go. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I try to be the good devil.
Well, I got to tell you, I collect a lot of 16 millimeter films, and I have one Twilight Zone episode on 16 millimeter film, and it's The Howling Man.
The Howling Man?
That's right.
Oh, I'd love to have that.
Yeah, well, I'll come over and show it to you.
Well, set up a screening and we'll
Yeah.
Let's do
as
it.
the guest of honor.
Yeah, I'd
That'd
love,
be
I would
awesome.
love that.
That'd
I
be
would
awesome.
love
set
that.
up a screening. I'd love to see it.
You're in LA?
I am in LA, yes.
Yeah, we all are.
In
Perfect.
scenic Van Nuys.
Van Nuys, right?
Oh, your neighbor. I'm in Van Nuys as well.
I'll be
Nice.
right over.
I think I can hear you from the. Right.
Oh, they've come to visit me in Hollywood, so
Great.
HM, I'd like to maybe jump ahead a little bit to something a little more lighter and more colorful, and that would be your appearance on the Batman TV series.
with Eli Wallach when you were Frosty.
I know.
Mis- Mr. Freeze's henchman.
Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me. It's Eli Wallach Frosty. Wow. Eli is a pleasure to work with because he's such a great actor.
And you had worked with him on Tea House of the August movie.
Tea House
He
of
was
the
one of
August
the many
movie.
actors who came in to play the lead.
Yeah,
Security.
I worked with him in the live theater.
Wow.
On Broadway, actually. And he's a fabulous actor. And working with him, it was a pleasure to work.
Wasn't there was a seal that you guys all had on set? A seal on that show?
I remember the seal. I don't remember why he was there, though. I really don't. I remember the seal very well. We played with it, petting the seal. We all had a wonderful time with the seal, but I can't remember why he was there.
In a lot of those shows back in the day, it seems like a seal or a chimp would show up. You had to have one episode with either a seal or a chimp. I remember one in Bilko. I remember one in a series that you did, Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
Colonel Becker. Come on. I
God,
love Hogan's Heroes.
Well, he's a professional.
My
These
God,
men
you
are
know-
professionals.
You guys know more than I do. I recognize the name.
Yeah.
Well, understand, HM, you're a working actor. It
Yeah.
seems like,
I-
you had no downtime at all.
No.
You-
There are so
whether you-
many different roles,
Yeah.
different names.
Yes.
I
Yes.
recognize the name, but I can't place it exactly where.
So you're not one of these actors that you do a script, go, I'll remember that script. Or
No,
you
my
just-
method is very simple. After I do a role and the director calls cut and it's over, by the time I go to my dressing room and put on my clothes and leave, I don't remember the show at all. It's gone.
Right. It's just another gig. You're off to another gig.
Because the next day I have to start a new show.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was that busy at that time. And if I didn't do that, I'd go crazy.
Yeah, he said it was the
I
equivalent of
literally have to wipe it off like it's a blackboard. I have to erase it.
Sure.
Mhm.
And by the time I've taken my makeup off and got my clothes on, it's gone. It's not in
Yeah.
my head anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
so
I'm on my way to my next gig.
what I found when I was interviewing HM, if it was something momentous in his life, in the time he remembers it. He remembers holding Clark Gable's head in his hands on
Oh,
Run
yeah.
Silent Run, because
Oh,
I'm on set with Clark Gable, I'm on set with Errol Flynn, but all these other people were just contemporaries of his. So you say, what was it
Right.
like Charlton Heston and Taming of the Shrew? Charlton Heston was
Yeah.
just another guy, just another
Clark,
actor. on
Clark
set.
Gable was the king. Let's face it. To have
Yeah.
the head in my hands was something else.
Wow.
I mean, it really
Amazing.
was. I
That's
was.
incredible.
You have no idea how my heart was pumped. I had the king's head in my hand. That was wild.
It's amazing.
Was his hair real?
Was Clark Gable's hair real, or did he
Oh,
wear a rug?
No, it was real.
Wow. I knew it.
Nice.
Real. Clark Gable was unbelievable. I mean, let's face
Well, he
it.
had palsy at the time, though, right? You were saying how they.
He did. He had palsy. He shook.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah. He
wow.
had palsy. But it didn't show because
They
he was
edited it.
in such a way that they knew when he was quiet, and that's when they photographed, and then he would shake, and it was.
Wow.
I loved him. He was a great man. It was wonderful to work with, and what can I say? I'm lucky
Did-
to have worked with him.
Did he give you a watch too?
No, I would have lost it anyway.
Left it on the submarine. I know that you have done a number of films for Walt Disney, Tonka being quite a prestigious one. How was working on a Disney project like Tonka?
Oh, Tonka.
Yeah, with Sal Mineo.
It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Sal Mineo, he was a child, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but every night in Sal Mineo's room, because we were on location, he'd have a poker game.
Oh.
I guess when you're that young, and he was young at that time, very young, he could play poker all night and get up and go to work and memorize a half a dozen pages. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
Wow.
He was wonderful. And he was wonderful to work with, and I was always part of the poker game.
Oh, tell me, these gentlemen all know who Slim Pickens is. Tell them the story about Slim Pickens when he was trying to do a stunt on a horse.
Yeah.
What happened?
He fell off the horse. As he fell off I was chasing him with another horse. He fell off the horse. He went into a tree, and his nose hit the tree, and his nose was laying on his cheek.
Oh.
Literally laying right here on his cheek.
Wow.
No.
And he got up. He straightened out his nose like that, and everybody was around. Hey, are you ready? He said, "Well, okay. Where's the next shot?"
Wow.
And we didn't miss a minute's work
Wow.
because and his nose was literally laying on his cheek.
That's dedication.
Straightened it out, kept working.
The pro.
Don't
Wow.
forget that.
Wow.
I don't know how the hell he did it, but he did it, and we kept working.
Wow.
You also worked with James Arness on Gunsmoke, and I saw a previous interview with you where you talked about how he would learn his scripts, and I thought that was quite interesting. You said that James Arness would learn his scripts one page at a time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Then he'd crumble it up and throw it away. I'll never forget that. Right, he learned a page, got in front of the camera, did it, crumble it, he'd throw the damn script away, and he'd work on the next page.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, he knew the script backwards and forwards.
Right.
He really did. But he'd go review every page, and he was flawless, absolutely flawless. It was wonderful to work with.
I would
Nice.
think that process would help with being spontaneous, where you just have that page, that moment fresh right in your mind
That's what
when
he
you're
does.
doing it.
He works a page at a time, and it's an interesting way to work. I mean, he's the only one I've ever known who works that way, and he'll work on that one page. The script is over there, and then they shoot it. He crumbles it up, throws it away, and by the time they set up the next show, he's learning the next page.
Unbelievable.
Nice. Nice.
He was wonderful to work with, though. He really was.
One film that I really like from the 60s is Marlowe with James Garner.
Yeah.
And you're a great baddie in that one. In fact, you order him to be beat up by thugs, kind of like a trial run for his role as Rockford in the Rockford Files later. But that movie is great because it's like Philip Marlowe in the swinging 60s.
Yeah.
And you're like the bad guy, and you send Bruce Lee to terrorize him, which is pretty amazing.
Bruce Lee, memories of Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, oh God, yes. I was in James Garner's office. James left. Bruce Lee was there, and I forgot what set Bruce Lee off, but he used karate. He destroyed the entire office.
Whoa.
Karate moves
Yeah,
with his legs. Destroyed the entire office, furniture, walls, everything. I just sat there behind my desk. I couldn't believe it. Bruce Lee was absolutely fabulous.
Almost supernatural in the way that he could move.
Yeah. It was just very exciting to have him as I can't remember what.
Like henchman.
Yeah, he was your henchman. You were his boss.
He was I was the boss. He was my henchman.
Yeah.
He was the one who did all the dirty work.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. He does a great kick where he kicks a lamp. Like his
Right.
kick is so high, he's able to kick a lamp on the ceiling out.
I know. He was very good.
Mhm. Now, you worked with Garner a number of times over the years, from Maverick to this, and he did Rockford Files
did,
as well.
Well, I worked with him in New York as well. I was doing a play on Broadway, so was he.
Yes, you said that even then people knew he was going to be a star. You
Oh,
you
God,
told me
yes.
that.
Oh, yeah. He had a very small role in a play. I was doing Tea House of the August Moon on Broadway. And we'd meet and have coffee and what have you. But I knew back then that everybody knew back then that this kid who has maybe 3 lines in the play is going to be a big star. Everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, genuine star power.
Huge
It
star.
factor.
Oh, no question about it. You just looked at him and said, "Oh my God, he only has 3 lines in the play, but this kid's going to be a big star." And he did. He became a big star.
Did you get along with him when you were
yeah.
acting with him?
Yeah,
Was he a good guy to you?
He was wonderful. We got along very, very well.
But you didn't get a watch out of him, did you?
No, I didn't get a watch.
No watch.
So far, only one watch.
Only one watch. Okay.
I expect 1, 2, 3, 4. I expect 5 watches from you guys.
They're in the mail.
So someone's got to cough up 2.
You can mail them.
So, HM, into the 70s, you started getting more roles that were like sinister corporate types. And in particular, I'm thinking of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes,
Right.
where you're one of the futuristic fascist people in control and
Right.
interrogating Ricardo Montalban.
Hoskins.
I was definitely a fascist.
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
recall working on that?
I recall enjoying doing it. I enjoy the fact that it went well, and I enjoy the fact that it was terribly well written, and it was just a pleasure to do. I can't remember what was the director's name.
J. Lee Thompson.
Yeah,
But your co-star for most of your scenes was Severn Darden, and you said you
Severn
really
Darden.
remembered him very well.
I love Severn Darden.
it was
Yeah.
wonderful to work with. One of the great character actors of all time. He really was good.
Yes. And Don Murray. Don Murray is
Don
sadistic.
Murray, right.
Yeah,
He
Severn
really
Darden.
hated those apes.
Tell them Don Murray's father was a stage manager on Broadway when H.M. was on Broadway, and Don Murray was a couple of years younger than H.M. Didn't you get Don Murray one of his jobs?
I got Don his first job. I forgot what.
The Ken Murray, no relation, the Ken Murray Blackout.
Ken Murray Blackouts.
Yeah, it was a variety,
Wow.
a live variety show in New
New
York.
York. That was his first gig. I think he got on. He had maybe 10 words to say. That's it. But he ran through it, and that was his first gig. And I'm very glad I got that for him.
Well, we are all huge fans of Conquest of the
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Maybe my favorite ape sequel, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Especially the director's cut, the original cut.
Yes, right.
I know this is an audio only, but what I have over here are also all of the novelizations. And
Nice.
Oh.
I always wind up opening this, and randomly I always wind up finding Hoskins whenever I open the. Of course, this time I didn't open it randomly to Hoskins, but I will. Oh, here it is, Hoskins. Second time, there it is, Hoskins.
Wow.
Let me see. Let me read that. Let me see. It says Hoskins takes off his watch.
But he did say, because he and Ricardo Montalban and H.M. was close with the Montalban family. He did say, and he had done a Playhouse 90 with Ricardo. He did the Big Valley with Ricardo. You said you kind of felt bad driving him to his suicide, to his death.
Yeah, that was a dark scene.
Yeah.
In Conquest, he jumps out a window because of your interrogation.
Oh dear.
That's one of the elements of your acting that is so great and is so riveting, is that whether you're playing a heavy or, a regular character, there's always an air of authority that you bring. Like from that role to like horror at 37,000 feet as the
Love this.
co-pilot.
Yes.
You're wonderful. You're all business. And, you know, if I was experiencing any kind of horror at 37,000 feet, I would want to be in your hands, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have to say, when I'm doing a role, when we're in the middle of rehearsal or on the set, everything goes away. And all I can think about, all I can do is be that character and go over what I have to say as that character. And I become that character by the time they roll a camera. The minute I come through the stage door, that's when I start. I dismiss everything. Anybody, friends there, whatever, they have to go. And that's how I work.
Would you consider yourself a method actor?
I don't know what a method actor is. I have no idea.
But
I
like,
hear
what was?
the word method all the time.
Oh, okay.
Everything you do is a method. I can't accept it. I don't understand it.
I hear you.
Wait, when I watch you, but when I watch you in your roles, there's always, to me, there's always something underneath. There's more to meets the eye to you.
Yes.
You know, like there's a little something in there. You have a very unique presence. You really
I
do.
become the character by the time I go to bed at night, to the time I wake up, to the time I get to the set, to the time I leave. My only time on myself are probably dinner.
You talk about H because HM's he trained a bit in Detroit, but you know his first exposure to working side by side with actors were not method actors. We're talking about Katharine Hepburn, Laurence Olivier, Rex Harrison. These were the British method where you from the outside in, but he came up at a time where the method was coming in, so he was working with actors who were going from the inside out. And I think there's a little bit of both in HM.
Absolutely.
He as he's saying, he gets absorbed and he's the character. But one of the things you told me very early on, almost 30 years ago, we started working together on things. You said, you know, an actor must always have one eye. He can't get so absorbed that it's just him up on the stage. He always has to have one eye where the audience is looking at him so that he's aware of how. So there's a little bit, he's literally 50-50 between the British tradition and the method tradition.
I never go 100%, never. I'm always a certain part of it is me, period. Has to be me because I'm here.
Right.
And if you try to get rid of that, you're literally hurting the character. You can't do that. You can't, you got to use yourself. And I do. I make myself become part of that character. It's me.
Yeah, HM, the way we met was he did a play where he never leaves the stage the whole night. He's a recluse, almost like a Norma Desmond, trapped with her ghosts in her mind. And at the end, and it's a two-hander largely, while he's a confessional story, and then we flash back and see him as a younger man. But at the end, he goes mad. His character goes mad. He knocks out this reporter, and he thinks all these ghosts have come, other actors are coming on stage. And HM's performance was wonderful and fairly consistent. You could shoot it over 4 nights and cut it together on his gestures. But there was one night where he went mad. And when he came off stage, I could tell HM was a little like he disappeared into it. Like he wasn't aware of the audience. And he said it was a different night for you that night. You just you let go of that part of you that is making sure it's going to work to just went, you know, I noticed that when you turned around, the look on your face was different than it had been every other performance. And I remember being in the booth thinking, uh-oh, something's happening up there.
And that's the advantage of theater, too, to allow you those opportunities to take it in different directions with each performance.
So, Stephen, that's how you guys met. So did you say, my gosh, you have such an amazing career? Like, we got to tell people
happened
about
was this play, the structure of the play was very much inspired by something like Amadeus or M. Butterfly, where you have a kind of charismatic character telling the story of their past, and then that same actor, you know, playing an old man would then go and play himself as a young man. So I wrote this role of a then 65-year-old director telling the story of his romance in his 20s with a young actress who died young and would become iconic, sort of like Monroe meets James Dean in the term becoming an iconic figure. And so I wanted to find an actor who could play both the older man, but also can convincingly and not uncomfortably for the audience play scenes with a 20-something, late 20s actress. So I would audition all these actors, and they all were like, you're doing a scene with your uncle or your grandfather. They were all these kind of pot-bellied, balding guys, whatever. And they didn't really convince for the 20-something, the scene where you had to play a romantic figure. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get some. Then I started thinking, I guess I'll find a guy in his 40s and he'll play older and then play younger. And so then the theater owner of Actors Circle Theater, no longer there on Santa Monica Boulevard, said, do you know an actor named H.M. Wynant? I said, I know of H.M. Wynant. I don't know him. He says, well, I know his wife. She's a student of mine, and I've met H.M. He'd be perfect for this. And he gave me the number. I reached out to H.M. He read the script. We met at Astro Burger Restaurant over in Silver Lake Echo Park area.
I remember that meeting.
Yeah. And as H.M. has told me, he was doing everything to not do the job, and that's when he realized he had to do the job. So, and then, he never missed a rehearsal, never missed a performance. He never leaves the stage. I think briefly he leaves the stage for one scene.
It was a beautiful play. I enjoyed doing it. It was a damn good play.
Thank you.
Steve, I really enjoy Footprints too.
Thank you.
Much like the Cat's Meow, it just shows your undying love for old Hollywood, and and it's a romantic look at the history of Hollywood. And I love H.M.'s performance in that too, because he's kind of this enigmatic guide for the lead character. You don't know really what's up with his character, but he's great in it. He kind of is a representation of old Hollywood too.
Yeah, I wrote the part for him when I knew I was trying to make 3 other first directorial debuts and 3 different producers, and they were all on the million and higher level. And then I was sort of challenged by my girlfriend at the time, why don't you make a movie for an amount of money you can actually raise? And I said, but I don't have a script that I can do that with. And I can't just change one of my scripts to be shot for $40,000. But I said, I'll write one. And so I decided to work backwards from production. And so I knew that I'd want to be around faces and people who were friendly. And so I wrote the role of Victor with H.M. in mind. So it was written for him. There was no audition process. I wrote, several of the parts, a good 5 or 6 of the roles for actors who I knew, and then I auditioned the others. But H.M. took to the part right away. He knew exactly how to play Victor, totally did a wonderful job. Right, and we shot right out there on Hollywood Boulevard.
Well, that's what I love about it. It's such, and you're right there. And the fact that you shoot in the Hollywood Book and Poster, and you see like the flyers for the New Beverly Cinema on the stand. I mean, everything like that. I mean, I would go there every weekend, that place, it's a love letter to Hollywood. And it's really good.
Working on Hollywood Boulevard. Full of people. And they don't know what the hell you're doing. And you're doing a performance in the middle of a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really wild.
Yeah, we had tremendously good weather. We lucked out, and we were thinking of I was shooting the week prior, which was not a great week. We're so happy it worked out the way it did, but we had permits to shoot, but we weren't going to, we weren't blocking it off and getting police and bringing in extras. So we just used the people who were there, and we shot an angle, so we never were holding on any one extra long. Sometimes we do low angles, so we weren't necessarily seeing, but there was certainly foot traffic. And one of H.M.'s scenes, the scene that H.M. shoots at the Boulevard, because it all takes place from sunrise to sunset in one day. We shot it over 7 days. So that scene, when he's there, it's actually a little later in the day. So they're actually sitting there doing a performance with people walking all around them.
Yeah, it's very cinema verite, and it's like if you're right there, and it's really good.
Those people.
Yeah.
You don't call them by name, but you acknowledge them somehow.
Yeah.
Shelley Cafe, his first scene in Shelley Cafe. Well, right now I had no idea when I was making it, but that film is a historical record. The Shelley Cafe is not there anymore. Hollywood Book and Poster is not there anymore.
Right.
Hawaii Cafe. That beautiful mural on the side of the Chinese is now gone.
Yeah,
because
I know.
It's a historical piece of film.
It really is. But there's a wide shot at Shelley Cafe, and also the close-ups. You see, it's a working restaurant. We shot while we took the corner table, so there was no one behind, so there was a window and a wall. but part of the terms were we weren't going to shut their restaurant down. We shot it through a working restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked out fine.
Yeah, it was really good. Really liked that film.
Thank you.
HM, you've done so many different genres. And for us, of course, horror and sci-fi are, we love those genres. Is there a particular genre, comedy, Western, horror, that you like better, or do you prefer, or do you just kind of like any good role?
I like all the different ones. Everyone is so different that it's like there isn't any other. That's the way I feel. When I do this particular one, the others don't exist and never have. And then I move on to the next one, and then those have never existed. I erase very well.
I wish I could.
But not to be too punny, if this is the right word, he also embraces very well. So each time he goes in,
Absolutely.
like he says, he falls in love with the script, even if
and the actors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a very tight relationship, but I know how to end it.
Right.
I know how to end it and move on to the next piece.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Otherwise, you can't properly move on.
I think Westerns were very special to you because you really, and I don't say this to elicit laughs, you got very close with the horse. Whenever you worked with horses, you said it was.
I love the Western. I love horses.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good with horses. I did, what did I do live?
Oh, the Buffalo Bill.
I did Buffalo
in
Bill
the 90s. He
live
did,
in France.
Yeah, he did for a year. He did Buffalo Bill. He opened Euro Disney and
I
Buffalo
had
Bill's
a couple
Wild
of
West.
horses there.
Yeah.
Really?
I did Buffalo Bill in a big stadium in France.
Mm-hmm.
Where, Paris?
Yeah, outside of Paris. Yeah,
Just outside of Paris.
yeah. And he worked with that horse for 6 months, a year, and part of why he didn't renew his contract was the trainer was so horrible he didn't like how he was handling the horses. He didn't like them.
The trainer and I didn't get along at all. But that's okay. I did what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And it worked out very well. I did it for a year and I loved it. I loved my horse. That's the only thing I regretted when I left, that I had to leave the horse behind. I wanted to take the horse with me. I loved my horse.
You're also very good at comedy. And I love how you approach it because you play it straight.
That's right.
And that, I think that's
comedies to play it straight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I love you in Trail of the Screaming Forehead. And then those two-reelers, the Biffle and Schuster two-reelers, are just delightful.
Thank you.
Another short that he did for Larry, which all of your listeners can watch on YouTube. Larry Blomeyer, who wrote and directed Trail of the Screaming Forehead, Lost Skeleton, The Cadaver, all that. He did these little mini Twilight Zone-ish web series called Tales from the Pub, because he found that a friend had a little bar in his basement. He built a little pub.
I remember.
And so most of them are two-handers, and HM's is called Puppet for Your Thoughts.
Puppet for Your.
And I got to tell you, if it's the best episode. And talk about how to do comedy, playing it straight. HM he's the lead character where a man is trying to sell him. HM wants to be left alone.
Puppet for Your Thoughts.
He's trying to sell him a puppet.
Nice. Oh, I got to check that out for sure.
Yeah, that sounds
good.
amazing.
It's really good.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed doing that a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Since HM, you've been acting from the 1950s into the 2000s. Were there any directors or stars that you didn't get along with, or was more difficult?
No, I got along with all my directors.
Really?
Might not have gotten along with me.
I think I only remember you saying in the course of doing the book, I remember the one actor rubbed you the wrong way was David Cassidy.
God, yeah.
He was directing? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Arrogant.
Yeah.
Really?
Had nothing to back it up with.
Yeah, he did a series, sort of a proto 21 Jump Street, where he played young. He was a detective.
Oh, yeah.
He looked young. But it was literally the only series. His name was it was David Cassidy, Man Undercover, and HM's in it. And without me prodding him, he just definitely rubbed him the wrong way. Now, he was very friendly with David's stepmom,
Yeah.
Shirley Jones.
Ah,
Yeah, they were, even though they played mother and son on the Partridge Family, they weren't actually blood. He was the son of her first husband, Jack Cassidy.
Jack Cassidy, right.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, he definitely rubbed H.M. the wrong way with his arrogance on set and off set.
Yeah, Shirley and I were very close.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
we worked together very, very well.
Wonderful actress.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, could you tell me a bit about this book that you wrote on H.M.?
Well, it's H.M. Wynant, You Must Believe. The title comes from The Twilight Zone. H.M.'s iconic line was only one title I could ever consider for this book. And I've never written a biography before, as you kind of meant it and hinted at. I'm a storyteller in a lot of genres, theater, film, TV, graphic novels, and I'd written nonfiction, editing the books that I was on your last show for. But I noticed that the publisher of Giant Beast Cinema, Bear Manor, I was on their website and I saw that they were talking about, their desirable types of books, what they're looking for, and they said things about old television shows, and also they're looking for character actor biographies that other people might not be doing. And I went, well, check, that's H.M. So I sent an email off to Ben Omart at Bear Manor, and I told him about my long time friendship with H.M. Would he be interested in us doing a book? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Got paperwork together, give us a little advance, and we started the interview process. And I thought it was going to be, well, it'll just be a quick thing. It'll just be memoirs, a couple of quick things about different movies, and we'll just telescope it into just a few different projects. And I found I couldn't do that. I just kind of immersed in it. And I said, and originally we thought it might be in fact, some of the early mock-ups that I did of the cover before we did the actual cover, it was as told to Stephen PEROS. And so I thought, well, maybe this is going to be H.M. story filtered through me. And then it became clear, no, this was going to be a traditional biography, probably under the category of authorized biography. Clearly, he's sitting next to me. So a lot of quotes where H.M. has quotes, and then a lot of me filling in the gaps about the history, also putting it in perspective as a historian myself. And so, yeah, it was quite a pleasure to do, this book, and also just find my own way through all of this. Okay, I knew a lot about a lot of different things that were happening, but to put it all in a kind of timeline was really fascinating.
Right.
And with H.M. being the spine of that timeline, he actually started, when you think of Broadway, late 40s. He was doing stuff late 40s.
Wow. Yeah. And then when it comes to television too, I mean, that period in the 60s where there's so much iconic pop culture TV shows, and H.M. was like in every one. Like, I mean, Wild Wild West, Mission Impossible, like everything. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you were everywhere.
And also multiple episodes of all those shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Character. Yeah.
Yes.
Hard of me to think of all those things, but it doesn't seem real to me anymore. I feel like I've never done anything.
That's why it's great to have the book, because it's like,
I know.
Right, yes.
Get out
Stephen,
there and try to get a job or something.
no, it's great. I mean, like I said, you are a living piece of Hollywood history. I mean, you were there through all of it, and you still
Yes. And I would like to add that from films like Run Silent, Run Deep, to The Twilight Zone, to Bigfoot and Wild Boy, you have always given a great performance.
That's right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I do want to say to you, if I don't know when this interview is going to go live, but we will be doing. It's in the planning stages, but it has been confirmed. We will be doing a book signing here in Hollywood at the Hollywood Heritage Museum on Saturday, November 23rd at I think noon to 2. So we'll be doing a little Q&A with HM. We might actually do a little screening, yet to be determined.
Nice.
Of some iconic piece of television, and then we'll set up through the good folks. Jeff Mantor at Larry Edmonds will be setting us up and doing a nice signing and book sale there. So for your listeners to come out, meet HM, shake his hand, and get a copy of H.M. Wynant, You Must Believe.
Awesome. And is this book available online as well, Steve?
Yeah, you can get both. You get the softcover or hardcover edition on Amazon at Bear Manor Media website. Even Bear Manor Media recommends, if you want it fast, better to go through Amazon. So and like I said, both softcover and hardcover available right now for anybody who wants.
Awesome. HM, do you still do radio or any kind of acting work now, or are you mostly retired? Or
I'm not adverse to doing it, but I'm not doing any
okay,
Got
at
it.
the moment.
at the moment.
But if we made you an offer, is what I'm saying.
I'd be there with bells.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This has
Yes.
just been an
Yes.
absolute thrill.
pleasure.
Yes, you are both a delight.
Same here.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
Thank
It was
you.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy to be
Oh,
with all of you.
yeah.
Thank you.
thank you. Well, I would like to raise a toast to H.M. Wynant and Steve PEROS and the world of H.M. Wynant and Hollywood.
Yeah.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
Howling shout out.
Shout out.
This goes out to longtime listener Ricky Caswell from Hannibal, Missouri.
All right, Ricky.
Ricky is always quick to text some of his thoughts on recent episodes, and
Yes.
he always sends me, like, as soon as someone dies, he'll send me like a note, like "R.I.P."
Yes,
So that,
yes.
then I'm up to date on the people who passed away, and also happens to be Ricky's birthday this week. So happy birthday,
Aw.
Ricky!
Right.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening for so long. We appreciate your
Big time.
support, and party on. And
Party on.
Matt, I think you have one as well.
I do. And guys, this is very special because longtime friend of the show, Jim Moore.
Oh,
You
yes.
may have heard of him from More Monsters, who creates these wonderful tikis and lamps. They're all sculptured, one of a kind items. He's a genius. He's brilliant, but he's also our friend.
Yes.
And he sent us all something. And get this, Larry,
I'm
we
listening.
all get an item.
Oh,
Not just one
Nice.
item. We're all getting something, okay?
I love it.
Calm the fuck down. All right.
All right.
And what he gave us was, well, I'm going to let him speak for himself. He sent a note with his items, and it says, "Hey guys, this here is sand taken from the Icarus crash site from the original classic Planet of the Apes."
No.
Yes. And they're in little like test tubes.
Nice.
And he says, "I made the pilgrimage to the location in Lake Powell in Arizona. I beached the boat as close to the site as I could get and scooped it up. The Forbidden Zone is yours.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Your pal,
Wow.
Jim." And he is a pal.
That's
I mean,
so cool.
Thank you, Jim.
Anyone
That's
who would
awesome.
take the time
Jim.
to send us sand
Yes.
is a very special man.
Special sand. Yes.
And very special sand. Yes, it is.
That's right. That's awesome.
So
I would
Jim,
do the
thank
same
you so
thing
much.
if I was there. Yes.
Of
Awesome.
course we would.
All right.
I'm gonna have a little tiny American flag and plant it in the sand.
That's right.
That's a good idea.
That's
Yeah,
right.
like it's sort of the Planet of the Apes Zen garden.
Yes. Yes.
I like
it.
the way this is coming together. But,
Thanks, Jim.
thank you again, Jim. I
Thank
mean,
you,
that was
Jim.
just so
Thanks,
lovely, and we
Jim.
look forward to seeing you again. We miss your smiling face. Oh, and just a couple more quick plugs. I was recently on Danielle Koenig and Christine Kimmel's podcast, How to Survive with Danielle and Christine, telling horror stories about my big brother again. And that's on Apple Podcast, and I'm sure other places. And if you need a dose of Halloween in November, like we all do, listen to me on the Dana Gould Hour podcast episode, Scream Halloweenery Scream. And you can find that right at danagould.com.
Hey, let's remind our listeners that Monster Party merch is available for sale on our eBay store, which is called, you guessed it, Monster Party Store, where you can find Monster Party t-shirts. We have the logo glow in the dark t-shirts. We have the Kaiju t-shirt designed by Derek Robertson.
Yeah.
We have Monster Party shot glasses, so you could join us in raising your glass at the end of each show with our guest.
Drink.
We have the Monster Party PPE cloth mask. And last but certainly not least, we have the legendary Monster Party baseball cap, which is a very, very high quality item.
Yes. There's a certain stitchiness that will please you.
There are stitches. Let's just leave it at that. And if you happen to be a Patreon member and order from our Monster Party store, we will throw in free surprise goodies, courtesy of our good friends Jason Lindsay at Bit Bang Pow Toys and foam fabber extraordinaire Ted Haynes.
Nice.
Yeah. They're great guys. And I consider them the Bigfoot and Wild Boy of the show. Although when it comes to Wild Boy, James comes in a close second. What did you say, guys?
Yes,
I
for
would.
sure.
You know, I was so excited to have H.M Wynant on this week that I've completely forgotten what this whole Patreon business is all about. Can someone refresh my memory, please?
All right, I will. Well, much like Caesar gathered a coalition of chimps, gorillas, and orangutans, Patreon gathers a coalition of exciting Monster Party bonus content. Yes, this veritable ape city of content includes exclusive audio episodes, our special shows like Monster Party Masterpieces, our popular Toy Time series, our new show Monster Party on the Road, and we also have our behind-the-scenes convention footage and our legendary Japan trip video diary and vintage horror and science fiction edited by our resident Lyscarian, John Bordeaux.
Wow.
Wow,
You know,
indeed.
Well, that sounds truly magical, but I gotta say, after this episode, I'm gonna go out and buy a few copies of Steve Peros's book and a bunch of Blu-rays starring H.M. Wynant. So I don't know if I can afford this bounty. How much does it cost?
Well, settle down, James, because for the price you would pay me for a bootleg replica of the Howling Man Staff of Truth, and please understand, it's going to be the first wooden stick I see. But for the price of that stick, you could become a Monster Party patron, and that price is just $5. $5 a month.
Wow, that's amazing because you can't get an official horror at 37,000 feet die-cast airplane toy for that price.
And that would be
That's
so
very-
easy to market, too.
Yes.
You just find that plane, a new card, and Bob's your uncle. You're in.
That's right.
Well, that's such a bargain. I couldn't pass that up. How does one join this Patreon?
Well, all you have to do is you go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click join, you follow the instructions, and next thing you know, you'll be as happy as the guy who missed his flight and avoided the horror at 37,000 feet. Oh, and just by the way, for me, the horror at 37,000 feet is the guy sitting next to me with his shoes off.
And hey, let's remind everyone that we are on the social media. We are on Facebook at Monster Party TV, YouTube at Monster Party TV, Twitter, now known as X, at Monster Party HQ, and also Instagram at Monster Party HQ. And hey, wherever you're listening to us, please take a moment and write a review. We would especially love to see a review on iTunes. But hey, whatever platform you're listening, please find a way to let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you, and we will read your review on the air.
And we won't just read your review. We'll turn it into a song for our upcoming musical extravaganza, Hangar 18 on Ice. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
Now, I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And watch anything featuring H.M. Wynant.
Holy shit, I think I just found Elvis's Rolex.
Thank you very much.
There's that, I think it's Playhouse 90 or one of those shows.
Yeah.
They did this famous show, and I think it's Patty Chayefsky, and it's
Yes.
the comedian.
It's incredible.
it's so
incredible.
great. You got Mel Torme doing an amazing job of acting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Mickey Rooney is just horrible.
He's
basically
terrifying.
He's playing himself. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so there was, I forget what I was watching, but there was somebody who was talking about when it was made, and they were saying that each day he'd bring a new girl to the set, some like 10-foot high stunner, and say, "Hey,
Right.
you could find a place for her in this, can't you?" And so she'd be a chorus girl, and everybody was happy.
Was doing this fun, doing the podcast, doing this interview fun for you?
Yeah.
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 We're
absolutely.
fun guys.
Right. And
We
yes, we'll-
definitely have to put together a screening.
Yes.
That would be so much fun. And depending on the logistics, I'd be happy to come to you guys too, because all my equipment travels very well.
Mhm.
So
Like I
we
said,
gotta
let
do
us know
this.
if it's something you want to do in conjunction with Monster Party or just
Okay.
a private thing. We're
Sure.
open and available.
Oh,
but
sweet.
as
Love it.
HM says, but get it going. He's 97. He wants to do it now.
Yeah, I'll do it. No.
All right.
I'll
Gotcha.
get it going.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
we're
you so
ready to have his
much.
100th birthday party in the works. So
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
All right.
We're all
All
invited.
right.
We're
You can do
there. We're there, whether
Right.
invited or not.
All right.
All
right.
bearing watches.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I like that. That's good.
Give me another one. Just give me thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me try it again.
That was pretty
Yeah.
good.
That's good though.
Thank you very much.
Do it one more time just because I think the very beginning got a little clippy.
Thank you very much.
Do it faster.
Thank you very much. Thank
Okay,
you
I
very
think
much.
we
I like
got
it. I like
You
it.
have options.
Yeah.
Let me just do a couple more.
Let's do
You
10
want
more.
Do it better.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're getting at the end of it now. It's starting to, the end is starting to get into Gomer Pyle territory. Thank you very much.
Oh, golly.
Thank you very much.
It's good.
It's good.
I think it's good.
Now I'll do Liam Daniels.
And then I'll roar like I'm Bigfoot.
Yeah, right.